Hi,
Hey,
Sulaiman.
hey, Anton, how are you? Nice to see
Good.
you.
Yeah, you too, finally, for the
Finally,
first
we speak together. Yes, we always chat at via email or LinkedIn,
texting and so, yeah.
texting, WhatsApp. Yep. So how it's going?
Well, everything is fine,
Yeah, all right. So are you at work now? Or
well, I work in it from home most of the time.
I see you're wearing a Nozomi.
Well,
Yeah.
just for the picture.
All right, all right. We're recording now, Anton. So I want this spontaneous talk to show up.
Sure, no
I think
problem.
it's maybe cool. So
Some drama and stuff, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm just experimenting, getting better every
It's
time.
good. It's a good idea. I always wanted to have my own pet podcast,
Yeah.
even while I was in Russia, but I didn't have time, and
Uh,
so I didn't do that. But so I envy people who have their podcast. So you're doing a great job,
oh,
and
thank you very much.
yeah,
Thank you.
and you're doing it in Arabic in your local language. And
Yes.
I told you that I need you to have it in
I
all your.
know I know, my bad. I'm always, postponing and getting busy. But
So you will have much more visibility for your podcast for people in the Arabic world and
yeah,
other. So it's a good idea.
exactly. Exactly. I haven't done much in English, maybe you're the second one. Yeah.
Hey, at
Yeah.
least part of the family of OT Cybersecurity podcasts.
Yeah.
In my podcast playlist, there are podcasts in Portuguese,
Mm,
in Israeli, in English, and of
mm.
course in Sweden. I know that in Germany some
Yeah.
podcasts. So it's international. It's great to have
That's
Arabic.
good. That's
There
cool.
is no Arabic there. Yeah.
That's cool. So talking about podcast, maybe I'm thinking about. Do you want to talk about Beerless Isaac?
Yeah. Well, yeah, for the listeners and for what is it? So there is international community which
Yeah.
was established in the US, but now it's international.
Mm.
The idea was like to share information when you have like a glass of beer or coffee or something, talking
Uh,
with your like-minded people at the conferences.
yeah.
But something in an informal way.
Huh.
And in that way, you share some insights, some knowledge, something important, and some techniques and stuff for work, for education. And they called it BEERISAC because that time and probably now in the US, lots of ISACs, the information sharing and analysis centers, they're not very effective. So
Mm.
they do a good job with sharing information. That's why it was funny idea to have this kind of effective BEERISAC.
Yeah.
And there are lots of people in this community. It's like informal community. Everyone can be part of the BEERISAC. It's not the beer in the name doesn't mean that everyone should drink or something. So it's
Yeah.
totally
Yeah.
just
I,
fun.
yeah. Yeah.
And I was a big fan of podcasts for learning languages, for
Mm.
knowing for finding new stuff. And I was thinking how it would be great to have kind of the single playlist of podcasts that I can listen to myself, and also to share to people. And that time, like it was how much time? Like 5 years ago, I
Mm.
found some interesting service which is called Listen Notes.
Mm.
This is kind of Google for podcasts.
Mm.
Some guy from the US made this service, and there is a feature that you can find podcasts. The service aggregates this podcasts from other platforms, and you can create your own playlist and you can share it.
Oh.
And that time I decided, wow. Anyway, I monitor lots of podcasts. I listen them. I will do that for myself first, and for the folks in the community as well. And since then, it's quite popular, and people can listen to this playlist, they can just find out some new names, some new podcasts in the list, and listen just them. So it's just the easy way, easy source of other for other podcasts. So this is win-win situation for podcast creators. They have additional audience, and for an audience, like they see all the podcasts and listen them in the one place.
Cool.
Yeah, and then it's good for me because I feel that I do something useful for the community. So this is my contribution. And I made it. Yeah, I decided to make it under the BEERISAC brand umbrella. So I talked with Patrick Miller, who is one of the founders of BEERISAC.
I know him.
Yeah. Patrick, what do you think? Is it a good idea? Because it's a community initiative. I want to have it like under the community name. He said that it's awesome. And let's make it. Let's do that, and we made it, and so it's working. That's why I feel very passionate in finding other people doing content and encourage them to make it an audio format like you do.
Oh, thank you. Well, I appreciate your work. What I noticed about you really is your focus on community, like you said, and always trying to connect people and attend conferences.
Very important, that networking people. So we are social animals. We need people, especially we need like-minded people around us, because that's what drives us forward.
Very true. So, I mean, and you said I read about you that you're learning Spanish.
Yes, this is my new challenge. I've been learning Spanish for like 5 years now.
So you speak 3 languages now.
Sorry, say again?
So you speak 3 languages now.
Yeah, I can say at a different level, but I can speak Spanish.
Yes.
It's I torture my Spanish friends with that.
Cool. That's cool. I mean, this fits a description of a community person, who speaks languages and.
Yes, because I want to be close to the people, and and you will be close to the people when you speak their language.
Exactly.
And I think this is not my last language. I still think that I will probably in the future will start another one, but I'm thinking on it. So it might be either Portuguese or Arabic, or something else. It will depend on the place where I'm going to live in the future. So, but Arabic is in my short list.
So speaking about moving, well, you've started in Russia, of course.
Yes.
Right? And the Kaspersky, to be precise.
Yes.
Or did you want?
I have a long story. I was born in Kazakhstan in Soviet time. Then I lived in different places in Russia. So my career started in 2005, and after that I changed some places. I worked for a big system integrator in Russia. And then, 7 years ago, I joined Kaspersky team, responsible for OT Cybersecurity. And after 6 years with Kaspersky, I joined Nozomi team last year. So
cool. Okay, let's see. I mean, I've also read. we go back to the community.
Sure.
Because this is, I think, it will be the main theme in this podcast. You one of the co-founders of Scadasec.com.
Yes, this is the Russian-speaking community for OT cybersecurity professionals. The idea was, again, when I started the OT cybersecurity journey, I really needed like-minded people around me. And I was looking for them. We were meeting at the conferences, and then we started meeting in an informal way, like meetups, some Facebook groups, Telegram groups, and I decided that it would be great to get people together under the name, the whole name for all the initiatives in the community. And that time, I remember, and it still exists, there is a community mailing list, which is called Scadasec, you know it?
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite known in the industry, in the community. Yep. And I talked with the co-founders, like, guys, don't you mind if we use your name and we just add like the local specific, like RU? And they told it's great to have the big, global extension of Scadasec, like RU Scadasec, and after us, the Brazilian friends and communities, they started Scadasec BR. So, but unfortunately, after these two kind of countries, Russia and Brazil, Scadasec doesn't have other local branches, but it has at least two: the global American version mailing list, and local versions in Brazil. It's in Slack, it's closed community, and in Russia it's RU Scadasec. And yeah, so we started that under that name in 2015. It's gonna be 10 years soon. 10 years, it's like 8 years, if I'm mistaken. Yeah. So this still exists.
Yeah, cool. I mean, when I was in Russia last year in Kaspersky, one of the guys, they showed me the badge,
the coin. Yeah.
The coin. Sorry, yeah, the coin.
Yeah, we have it. So it's one of the initiatives we made the challenge coin like this. For people who contribute, the people who contribute a lot to the OT cybersecurity in Russia, in globally, who we respect. So, and the wall of fame for the people in the community who have this kind of challenge coins, and so it's a good idea for community having this kind of award. It helps, it rewards people for what they do, and it shows the good example for other people. So you can be the same as them. This is like a incentive for them, motivation to contribute.
Yeah, of course.
But it's just small metal, thing.
Yeah.
It's a coin. It's not. It is not made of gold or something. But people valued it because this is the token of the community. This is you are doing something, and this is the symbol.
It's a symbol. Yeah, it's emotional, maybe, or yeah. All right. Okay. So I mean, well, I noticed that you always mention about that you're evangelist. So when you when you started in Russia, I mean, that was a long time ago, and I mean, in OT cybersecurity, were there many people doing OT security, or they were little?
No. I remember that I started thinking on business development on OT cybersecurity in 2010, right before Stuxnet happened. So before Stuxnet, I started like a month before that. And when Stuxnet happened, like it was a sign, like this is very important area to be, because you see what's going on in the world.
Yeah, 2010 was a bit early, I remember back then.
Well, but in different countries, I know that globally, in the US and in Germany, there were people who were doing this kind of thing, like from 2000, like Dale Peterson,
of course,
Ralph Flangner and others. So they're very respected people, and they've been in the industry for a long time. But I started in 10, and at that time, people were interested in this topic. I mean, the security professional, security companies, but the market, the asset owners, they weren't ready for that at all. So it was just awareness stage. They were learning what to do, and they were that time in Russia. There wasn't any regulation on this area, nothing like for critical infrastructure. But it was interesting time because it's all of that was new for us, new technologies, new vendors, and you know that there was a huge spike in OT cybersecurity solution, like in 2013, then 15, this time frame.
Yeah.
But most of the current market leaders like Nozomi and others, they started like 2014.
Yeah, I remember. Because when I joined LinkedIn in 2012, or maybe a little bit before, I didn't see them. Nozomi and Dragos, I didn't see any. It started, and the people who were participating in LinkedIn, I remember they were, not much.
Yes.
And it didn't have these, 9 names like IC security, OT security. These names didn't.
Yes,
they didn't
but
exist.
You know that Dale Peterson, he started his conference S4, like Scadasec Security Symposium, Scientific Symposium, in 2007, if I'm not mistaken.
A bit early, yeah.
Yeah, but he, as he's always talking about that, it was a small event, like 50 people, something like that.
Maybe it was called Scada Security, something like that.
Yes, Scada Security Scientific Symposium. That's why it's S4.
Yeah. And then the name evolved slowly. All right.
Now it's more than 1,000 people. It's
It's too many on LinkedIn. Every day I'm meeting new people and discovering new people. That's nice. It's shooting exponentially. Yeah. Okay. I mean, also I noticed about you. I mean, when I read about you, that you like to analyze markets and services and products. Could you, tell us what do you think about? And briefly, what do you think about the ICS OT security solutions and products, and where do you think they are heading?
Yeah, I love, especially I love, analyzing and finding some innovations and something new and some new approaches, new technologies, maybe the new ways to optimize and streamline the existing processes. I love it. I love automation and prioritization in my personal life, and same in the cybersecurity for OT. I'm a big believer of automation. Automation for cybersecurity processes, and I'm big believer in the that finally the OT IT will be together. So OT cybersecurity will be at the same level of maturity as IT cybersecurity, and there will be the same way automation. There will be these kind of approaches like extended detection and response, when there will be the kind of multilateral monitoring of endpoints, networks, and all possible sources, the automation, analysis, and automated response. So it all will be together, and I know that with the rise of artificial intelligence and machine learning, it will be used very, very extensively there. Yeah. So this is the future I see for OT. But I at the same time I see that more IT security companies will come to this area, and the more small OT companies will be merged and acquire, will be bought and with the big companies. So like what is going on now in the market, for example, with Microsoft, with Cisco, some other our competitors. So they bought small OT cybersecurity companies. Yeah. This is one of the ways.
So, I mean, what do you think about people who are coming from IT background, like, Microsoft and these big boys, like also, for the technical people who are coming from IT security, how do you look at it? I mean, what do you see?
Yeah, well, the thing is that I also IT
Yeah.
security, so I came from IT background.
All
from
of us,
IT
yeah, me too.
Yes,
Yes.
but I understand there is like there is a thing like to be in OT security, you have to have like this strong OT background. I understand that every people with their knowledge might be useful for this area. I understand that there is no like versus IT security people or automation people who is the better. They all can work together. They all can help each other. They can share something that other people don't know. So we need to find a way to communicate, to share, to understand each other. So that's why this is what I learned when I joined this OT cybersecurity area, that we need to be respectful to other people, to their background. We need to understand their points of view, so how they see the risks. But at the same time, we need to help them and show them, guys, we have a little bit different perspective. We have a different sources, we need different knowledge. We sometimes see the risks differently, but we want to show it to you. Well, and I think that I was successful in that, communicating with OT people, with industrial automation, and I have lots of friends in OT, in an industrial automation environment. So they learned from me. I learned from them always. So
nice.
This is not about competition. This is more about friendship. This is why I love community and making friends and networking.
Yeah.
So we are supplement each other. So we are
nice.
My way.
Okay, let's talk about the client and the asset owners. Have you seen any changes in how they deal with the vendors and adopting solutions, and have they matured? What do you think over the years?
Well, the interesting thing that I have experience, I have a global experience, and I always see the different level of maturity in different countries. That's always interesting to see in some countries that they're still at the very beginning. You're still explaining them what is the difference between IT and OT security. And some countries in some areas, for example, in the Middle East, the market is the asset owner is very mature. At least I know that in Saudi Arabia, in UAE, for example, very mature. Nice. They're very keen to know to try new technologies. They try to be pioneers in there. So if they see in Arabic world the professional, they see new technologies, they try to use it. In some other countries, in some areas, I see that still you need to convince them this is the real problem. They still don't have in their countries any regulation on that. And the maturity level is different. But it's good to be in this journey from the beginning, helping them, educating them, showing them that you are guys lucky now because there are lots of automation, lots of solutions, and how you can build the effective way. So some people made all the mistake, you can learn from them.
Nice. Yeah, totally agree. Okay. Okay. So, I mean, I also noticed, you're very, active also in showing other people research.
Yeah.
I know because I come from also research background, when I studied in the UK. When did you start, to follow research or?
Yes, this is part of my long story of finding novel approaches and new technologies. I always thirsty for sources of new information, and I have my own monitoring system for monitoring stuff. Like I aggregate all the interesting sources to single system. I love RSS Anton subscriptions, and I have my monitoring system. And the academic research in the many academic research libraries, it's a rich source of this kind of information. There are lots of basic research like student works and something like that, but there are some you can see from what I share, there are some interesting novel approaches like to do for threats, for attack techniques, for security solutions, for security approaches, processes, and so on. So I love following that, and yeah, besides all other sources I have.
Because I noticed that you presented work when you were in Kaspersky. It's called gas oil discharge oil tank, right?
Yeah, it was. This is the demo mock-up. This is our model of the demonstration attacks and the industrial process attacks and solutions. So it was made by our engineering team, and I was like a presenter of this.
Yeah. So was it like a test bed or what? Like
it's a smart. This is a small small test bed. Yeah, mostly for demonstration purposes.
Okay. Talking about test bed for the newcomers and for the also the professionals. What do you recommend if somebody wants to set up OT lab for practicing, for improving skills? Is there online sources, or do you recommend a way to do it?
Yeah, there are. We're lucky that these days there are lots of resources, lots of free resources, open source for that kind of exercises and education. There are not very expensive hardware for that. Many people can afford. And I love GitHub, one of the sources for my monitoring, and there are lots of good repository for good stuff. One of them is your repository. I also follow it. I see all your updates on the Shodan.
I'm very addicted.
Yeah. So you are under my monitoring. Every update I see in my system.
I hope it has value. I call it OT Hunt. I write about it, and I hope there is a value in it. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And there is one of the useful repositories is the ICS security tools and tips, which is created by in the US with some enthusiasts. And there are lots of useful resources, for example, for building up your own lab with virtual resources, the instructions how to buy and design your own lab for OT and IoT as well, because for OT you need some networking and PC-based environments as well. So I always recommend this resource as a starting point. So so resources, virtual labs, not very expensive hardware, lots of academic papers on how to build up your own lab as well. It's a great time to learn, and lots of resources, hacking frameworks for learning the offensive side of OT cybersecurity. You know that lots of frameworks and so on.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Let's see. What do you think about the current training and certifications in OT cybersecurity?
Well, it's a good thing. I support it, and but it's always important to understand that certifications cannot replace the real knowledge.
Of course.
And it's good for your career, always, because always in your career you start with HR people, and you need to hack the HR people first. Certificates and this kind of paperwork, and it helps. So, and I remember that in my career for cybersecurity in general, I always thought that, when you learn something, you learn it. You getting the knowledge, trying to find some certificate, not very expensive, something in this area that can be motivator for you, and also maybe as a milestone. You learn, you pass the exam, you have a knowledge, and you have some kind of proof of it, kind of that at least you try to invested your time to take this exam. But it's important not to forget to really learn it, not just hack it and teach to the test, but try to understand the area.
Of course.
Yeah. So I very recommend people to look at this direction. SANS, ISA, some other education provider. I actually hold one of the rare certificates in ICS security. It's CSSA. I don't know many people who have it, but I took it. It was like I took it in 2011, like a year after I started.
Oh, it was a long time.
At that time, it was the only one certificate.
Before SANS.
Yes, even before SANS.
It still exists? Does it still exist? Yeah.
It still exists, and you still can go and take the exam. Yeah.
Nice.
It's the organization with the name IACRB, whatever that means.
Okay. Lots of
alphabets.
Okay, let's see. All right. So I mean, there were many vendors, who joined OT security services and products, and many of them we don't hear about anymore. Maybe some of them went out of the market. Some of them were, acquired. So, did you tell us what's going on? Why there are so many people joining?
It's a market. Sometimes it's cruel.
Yeah.
So I'm not a expert in venture market area, but if you don't have lots of clients and sales, sometimes it can happen. But one of the specifics of OT cybersecurity market that is sometimes in many places it's very small, it's very slow. This is because it's not like install antivirus on your office workstation. You need to do lots of validations. You need to get approvals from many departments in the company. So sometimes the selling process is slow and it's very long. Not all the startups can survive this specifics. And for many big companies, it's much easier to be in this kind of area. Like I remember with Kaspersky, because they have financial sources other to invest in this kind of expectations, waiting for the time when the customers will spend their money. This is one of the specific. It's not easy, but it's critical infrastructure. There is always risk, and they have to be
like you said, it's a slow market.
Yes,
because the companies are big and
if you want to get quick money, this is not for you.
I noticed this.
If you want to start a company, be careful.
Especially for
for solutions, for products, maybe for services. You work in the services area.
For
you it's easier.
In services,
with services you have another problem. You cannot scale it. You're the only one.
There's an issue with the scaling.
You only have 24 hours a day. Yeah.
Unless you do a service that is subscription mode, where you can.
Yes, that's right. But
yeah.
When they have automation,
I'm thinking about this.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's like you said, you have a limited time, limited energy. So
it's easier to sell.
Yeah,
and it's, you can deliver more.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Okay.
But interesting. Is it possible to do that with like as far as I understand, you mostly in the consulting, penetration testing, security assessment, right?
Yeah, but I don't do much because I'm busy with other things. I'm working on a software now. That's very similar to Shodan, but I will it's called ICS rank, but
it's a great news.
yeah, it's more focused on the IoT services and products that are online.
Yeah,
I will share it with you before I show it to everybody.
Perfect.
Because you have the experience in products and services.
Would be great to have a look. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Feedback and maybe help something.
Thanks. Thank you. Do you think the market needs new products or new solutions, like different solutions than the usual?
Well, yeah, I'm a big believer. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. No, go ahead.
I'm a big believer in competition, and the competition and competitors always make us better. So we see new ideas, new ways of thinking, new solutions for the old problems, for example. That is and we're still looking at the even now I see new companies on the market who offer the same kind of solution and approaches, like network security monitoring for OT, but a little bit different ways, like doing more like CM, including stuff like SOAR automation, more focus on risk summarization and something like that. So aggregation different functions from other kind of solutions. So this is interesting. So sometimes something new, it's just it's a unique combination of something that we already know. And actually this is true for people. When you learn something, sometimes you learn from the sources that people already know, or all the people can do that thing, but you learn it in your combination, in your own way, and you are becoming a unique specialist, a unique professional. But if you look at yourself like this is me, I'm not unique, but I know this, I know many people who know this, I know this, I know other people who know this, but finally you can be the person who is unique combination of this kind of skills. This is interesting. The same is true for companies, for technologies and products. This is kind of my philosophical answer.
Yeah, interesting. No, interesting, really. Okay, let's talk about the cloud. I think you also doing cloud, right?
Yeah, our company do.
Yeah. What do you think about moving OT to the cloud and this?
Well, I'm thinking that we cannot, even we security people, we are no people telling no to everything. Like we are pessimists. We should be. It's our professional way to be. We're doing about we cannot stop the progress, and
it's happening.
And we need to understand that we are security is additional function for a business, for something that brings value to the clients, to the consumers, and so on. And that's why we need to look at the new things, new technologies, new approaches, and help them to highlight risk as soon as possible, and highlight that and incorporate the risk management approach in each processes of them. So the same for clouds. You see that what I see now, for example, from some analyst reports, there is a movement with the from OT to cloud, even with virtualization of PLCs. You probably saw that.
Yeah.
Many big companies and giant companies and vendors like Siemens and others, they have their own offerings for virtual and software PLCs for the cloud, and cloud offerings for that. So even if them as a very authoritative vendors in the area, they do that. So, and finally, they only offer that now, but they are teaching their customers, they are convincing them to have this, to try this, to see the value of that, and finally they will do that. And it's gonna be, I know, for some companies, for very mature companies, it will be new normal. It's okay to have clouds components in my industrial automation environment, but we as a security people, we have to always warn them, like, not like you cannot use that, it's totally prohibited, like, come on, there is no air gap anyway, we all know that. So the same for cloud, but new technologies, new risk, new approaches to mitigate this risk. This is my.
So you like, they are introducing a new attack surface, so they have to prepare the requirements to secure this. I also read about Siemens. They have partnered with NVIDIA about the virtual factory. I think you've heard about it. It's based on virtual reality, like a virtual factory where it represents any factory, and it has the same functionality. And well, they have, I don't know why they are setting up this, but I think they are working on it.
This is kind of digital twin approach,
possibly, but it's more graphical, it's more graphical. Like if you look at it, you look at a factory, like, like you're wearing these glasses and you see they work
for education, for future.
This is the future. That was last year, I think, when I read it. Right. So I mean, what do you advise somebody who's who want to move to this this domain, OT security, coming from IT security? Or,
well, first of all, it's important to find like-minded people to virtually or physically in the area where the person lives, the communities, small communities, clubs, meetups, conferences. Then there are lots of places online to join, like groups in the LinkedIn, and following the people who share information, like you, like myself and other. So to be in touch, don't hesitate to ask things, to comment something, to ask help. I always get some requests for help online. Like the same question, how can I start? I always start with reading. It's important to start small. There are lots of resources these days. You can just be overwhelmed with them. But start small, start to read some. I always recommend start with NIST standard for IC security 882. So it's a good standard to start. and as well as recommend the GitHub repository, ICS tips and tools, like to play with the different things there. You can build lab and stuff. And yeah, but mostly start with the asking people questions and be one of the members of the community, local community. Yeah, this is important.
Do you advise newcomers to specialize in one area or just learn general knowledge?
That's interesting. Well, my way was when I joined cybersecurity in general, started as a specialist and then moved to OT. I always understand that it's important to learn basics first. Networking, like operating system, penetration testing, some organizational and risk management approaches. So to start, if you are like a network professional, you know how to work with network. Start with offensive side, like what are the attacks, and start thinking as an attacker. And basic. After that, you will, the specialist will see what is more interesting to him. Yeah. Like maybe it's digital forensic, maybe it's anti-malware analysis or networking and stuff, and then develop in that area. Nice. I know there are a couple of good papers and frameworks on possible ways of development, education development in OT. One of them is made by Singapore CSA, Cybersecurity Agency. They have the OT competency framework, OT Cybersecurity, interesting ways for engineer, for manager, for investigator and analyst. And there is a good paper from Idaho College. I don't remember the name. Yeah, on framework on OT cybersecurity. This is probably good papers to have a look to see what is interesting to you. Yeah.
Nice.
I would recommend that.
All right. I also noticed, in the community, they always talk about IoT, which makes you think I mean, especially for people who don't know much about IoT, they think, will they ask, I mean, is IoT part of OT, or what's the relationship between IoT and OT? So can you elaborate on this, please?
Yes, the thing is that we all started from hardcore ICS, like oil and gas and power management and so on, power generation. But these days, well, it was the only representation of cyber physical system, the system that they control the physical environment with digital technologies in place. But after that, we see the more small, more critical at first sight systems, cyber physical, emerged, like building automation systems, like conveyor belts in in airports, and air conditioning systems and so on. And they're not very at the first sight, they're not very hardcore as a like metallurgy and oil and gas refinery, but they're all cyber physical. So I see there is a trend, there is a movement for vendors and for industry in general to replace the OT, IoT as a cyber physical system. I remember that this is quite we've had this term like cyber physical system for a long time.
Yeah.
But nowadays, when there are much more IoT, not like consumer IoT, like watches and stuff, but more like enterprise IoT. Not always industrial IoT, but enterprise IoT. It is more now more, this is better time to call all of that as cyber-physical security, cyber-physical system security. And in that sense, we can apply the same approaches as we use for OT, for IoT. Because I can explain. Nowadays, we are, for example, with our solutions, we offer protection for even banks and telecom companies and building management system, airports, and some other stuff. But when we go to them and say this is industrial or OT cybersecurity solution, they don't see them as industrial. They're not industrial. They're kind of, we have automation, we have IT systems in our environment, but it's very often that this IT system, like they call them, but this is IoT system, they actually overlooked. No one watched them. The elements of building automation system, the elements of physical security system, they are always overlooked, and IT specialists don't protect them.
Yeah.
So they are potential entry points for attacks, threats, and so on. So this is the right way to change the terms, to start talking about cyber physical systems more. So this is the right time for this term. This is what I think.
Do you think robots will also, I mean,
yes, but robots, they're not very, how to say, there are countries they rely strongly on robots, like in Asia, I know. There are companies who are focusing on robot cybersecurity, those kind of companies. For example, there is a Robot Alias, Alias Robotics company from Spain, and there is a big international community on robot cybersecurity. But for example, in my industry and in my company, I don't see a lot of robots requiring cybersecurity, asking for cybersecurity. I mean, the company who uses the robots. It's still in the future. It's early.
It is, yeah.
We are at the beginning of that, but there are countries that are more ready for that, especially in Asia. Yeah.
Interesting. So I think this will include everything. I mean, in the podcast, Anton, anything you would like to share? I mean, to say, I mean, before
I would like to say thank you for inviting me. Keep doing a great job. I'm waiting for your audio version of your podcast. I will remind you about that. So at least you know that why you cannot postpone that, because I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, thanks.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a great time.
You're welcome. You too. And thanks for giving us the opportunity to speak with you finally.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Have a good time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.